Welcome back to the world of horror. Today we're diving into a new nightmare. Today we're diving into the Japanese horror series, Kisaragi Station. This film is based on a famous Japanese urban legend. If you take the last subway train at night, you might end up at Kisaragi Station, and those who accidentally find themselves there will face the most horrifying deaths imaginable. Many people say Kisaragi Station actually exists, yet somehow doesn't exist in our real world. The film opens with college student Haruna choosing the legendary Kisaragi Station as the topic for her graduation thesis. After discovering online that a teacher named Junko was believed to have once traveled to Kisaragi Station, Haruna went to Junko's house to interview her about the experience. The time goes back to over a decade ago in 2004, when Junko took the 11:40 p.m. last train home after work. When Junko boarded the subway, it was crowded with people. But in the blink of an eye, she realized that everyone had suddenly disappeared. Then the train entered a tunnel that, according to Junko's memory, was not part of the usual route. After passing through the tunnel, night turned into day. Suddenly there were 5 more people on the subway. 3 young people, an uncle in a suit, and a female student. All were asleep. I recognized the student, Junko says. Junko recognized the female student as a student from the same school as her, named Miyaki. She woke Miyaki up, and soon the others on the ship woke up as well. Everyone realized this was not the train they had boarded before. At that moment, the subway doors opened, and the platform sign read, Kisaragi Station. Just like that, Junko and the 5 others all got off the train in a daze. After getting off the train, the blonde guy anxiously asked Junko for directions. But Junko didn't know the current situation. Suddenly, an uncle came over. It turns out the man was drunk and asked where the toilet was. After not getting an answer, the man left while drinking his wine. Afterwards, the group left the platform and headed to a nearby village to investigate. There were only a few scattered houses throughout the area, all of them appearing abandoned and neglected. Junko felt that everything was incredibly strange. Just then, a blonde he and a girl in a short skirt ran over, running over, screaming. The girl seemed to have seen something very frightening, so she kept screaming. Junko felt the place was unsafe, so she and Miyazaki went back to the station. There, they saw the yellow-haired guy kneeling, shouting angrily, while the girl in the short skirt kept calling out their companion's name. It turns out that their companion had an incident in the village. Blonde, he thought it was very dangerous here and wanted to leave with the girl in the short skirt. The remaining 3 hesitated. At that moment, a blood-curdling scream came from the direction of the village. At this point, Junko dared not hesitate and pulled Miyazaki away, leaving only the man in the suit on the platform. The 4 of them continued walking along the tracks, with the air filled with a sense of death. The short-skirt girl suddenly received a video call from her companion. The image on the phone shocked everyone. Obviously, their companion was already dead. Just then, the man in the suit suddenly appeared and grabbed Junko's arm. He excitedly told Junko that he had heard the bell ringing in the village, proving that there must be someone there. As long as we find someone, we can ask that person to help us leave. After saying that, he started pulling Junko, trying to pull her back towards the village. But before the man in the suit could finish his sentence, his eyes suddenly widened, and red streaks spread across his entire body. His head began swelling like a balloon, growing larger until, boom! It exploded into a mist of blood. At this moment, Junko and Miyazaki were absolutely terrified. They ran forward desperately until the girl in the short skirt collapsed exhausted to the ground before they stopped. She wanted to take a short break, but this made the blonde guy angry. Seeing that Yellow Hair wanted to hit the girl, Junko intervened to stop him, but unexpectedly, Yellow Hair pulled out a sharp knife. Junko was so scared that she kept backing away. Just then, a voice rang out, cutting through the tension between them. Under the railway tracks stood a kindly old man. Old man shouted loudly, "The tracks are dangerous! Get off quickly!" Everyone thought they'd found their savior and desperately called out to him for help, but the old man suddenly vanished. The next second, the old man's voice suddenly sounded from beside him, and then the old man charged forward with inhuman speed. They had no choice but to run for their lives. Suddenly, the deceased, their companion, appeared in front of them, blocking their way. He grabbed Yellow Hair tightly, his mouth repeatedly screaming, "Help me!" The short-skirt girl wanted to help the blonde guy push his companion away, but the old man rushed from behind and pulled her away and held her tight. Then, horrifyingly, the old man burst into flames, and both he and the short-skirted girl instantly turned to ashes. Just like that, only Junko, Yellow Hair, and Miyazaki remained alive. The hot-tempered Yellow Hair suddenly grabbed a knife, declaring that he knew how to get out of there. By killing all the living people, he could leave. Junko feared that yellow hair might harm Miyazaki, so she urged Miyazaki to leave first. Then she took out her only ballpoint pen from her pocket and held it in front of her chest for protection. Yellow hair lunged at Junko and slashed her repeatedly with his knife, causing her to bleed instantly. Enraged, Junko grabbed a pen and drove it straight into yellow hair's thigh. Then she hurriedly ran away with Miyazaki, not even looking back. After running for a while, they reached a tunnel. Inside the tunnel, dim lights flickered faintly, creating a gloomy and eerie atmosphere. During the fight earlier, Junko injured her leg and fell after just a few steps. Miyazaki had to stop and perform a simple bandage on Junko's wound. Yellow hair's voice sounded behind them, and Junko urged Miyazaki to quickly run ahead while she stayed behind to deal with yellow hair. Yellow hair rushed over with a knife, roaring angrily as he tried to stab Junko. At this moment, Miyazaki turned around and pushed blonde hair away. Miyazaki anxiously inquired about Junko's situation, but was unexpectedly slashed by yellow hair. He grabbed Miyazaki, ready to deliver a fatal blow, when the tunnel lights suddenly exploded. Junko was surrounded by darkness with only yellow hair's terrified screams remaining. She fumbled for her phone and turned on the flashlight. No sign of yellow hair anywhere. Until she slowly pointed the flashlight upwards. Yellow hair's neck was stretched long, and his head was already gone. This was all so bizarre that Junko could only keep running forward with Miyazaki. The light was right in front of them, and soon they ran out of the tunnel. Junko asked Miyazaki why she came back to save her, and the kind-hearted Miyazaki replied, "My mom always told me never to do anything that would make me feel guilty." At this moment, a van drove up, and a man got out of the vehicle, asking them if they needed help. Seeing a normal person, Junko and Miyazaki breathed a sigh of relief, thinking they'd finally escape the danger. With that, the two of them got into the man's car. In the car, the man reassured the two people, saying, "Don't worry, it's safe now." The events that just occurred left the two of them utterly exhausted, and before long, they drifted off to sleep. When Junko woke up, she found the man still repeating the same old words. "Please rest assured, it's safe now." Junko had a bad premonition, so she quickly woke up the still sleeping Miyazaki, and at that moment, the driver revealed his true face. Junko got off the car and tried to pull Miyazaki away to escape, but the driver grabbed Miyazaki's hand firmly. Junko desperately slammed the car door on the driver's head, but he wouldn't let go. Only after she forcefully kicked the door did he finally release his grip, and they both ran toward the forest. Ahead lay a wooden bridge, and after crossing it, they found themselves facing a shrine. They found a glowing door next to the shrine, which apparently would let them return to their original world. But the driver suddenly appeared in front of them, and the three people began fighting. The previously dead people also showed up one after another. Seeing the driver strangling Miyazaki, Junko grabbed a wooden stick and clamped it around his neck. "Go! Run!" Junko screamed at Miyazaki, Junko vision growing hazier by the second. Miyazaki entered the glowing door, shouting for Junko to hurry and follow. In the next moment, the glowing door turned into red flames, engulfing Miyazaki along with it. Junko's world went black. When she opened her eyes again, she was back in reality, discovering that while only a day had passed in Kisaragi Station, 7 years had elapsed in the real world. Back in reality, Junko has always lived in guilt. If she had entered the glowing door back then, maybe Miyazaki could have returned. After listening to Junko's story, Haruna eagerly asked about the process of Junko entering Kisaragi Station. Junko took out the text message she sent to her brother years ago, which recorded her subway journey. Junko took the subway at 10:20 p.m., but she was so exhausted that she fell asleep on the train. When she woke up, she had already missed her stop. So she got off and took a bus going in the opposite direction, and awkwardly, Junko fell asleep on that bus again. She had no choice but to take the last train home at 23:40 and somehow ended up at Kisaragi Station. Junko said that after returning to the real world, she repeatedly took the last train trying to go back and save Miyazaki, but never succeeded. At this moment, Haruna's eyes lit up, as she believed that Junko had accidentally discovered a way to travel to another world. Junko accidentally arrived late several times, and on top of that, she took the last train, which was why she was able to enter Kisaragi Station. Junko's previous attempts involved directly taking the last train, which is why she didn't succeed. After finishing the interview with Junko, Haruna excitedly left, deciding to personally try entering Kisaragi Station. She boarded the subway trains according to the times Junko had told her. After taking the last train, Haruna indeed arrived in the other world. The situation on the ship was just as Junko had described. These 5 people are like pre-programmed characters. Their speech and behavior matched Junko's description perfectly, and their memories had been reset. Miyazaki currently doesn't know who Junko is. Haruna decides to change the fate of these people and leads everyone out together. At this time, the group of 3 people with the blonde hair is preparing to go to a nearby village. When she remembered that was where the blonde group's friend died, Haruna immediately blocked their way, but was pushed down by the blonde aggressively. Unsettled, she had no choice but to follow. Haruna happened to see the blonde guy pointing a knife at her companion, and Haruna jumped in to stop him. She took the opportunity to snatch the knife from the blonde man's hand, making him not dare to be aggressive anymore. Haruna shouted, telling the 3 of them to follow her back to the station immediately. Station immediately. Just at that moment, a mass of red threads wrapped around the yellow-haired guy's feet. As Haruna and the others ran to the train platform, the blonde's miserable scream could be heard from the direction of the village. Haruna then led them forward along the railroad tracks. Shortly after, the girl in the short skirt received a video call from the blonde-haired guy. The man in the suit also told Haruna he had heard the sacrificial bell. He asked Haruna to lead everyone back, as if everything was following some predetermined script. After walking a bit further, the old man appeared. The blonde guy suddenly appeared, blocking everyone's way. Haruna didn't hesitate. She shoved the blonde guy into the old man, and both crumbled into ashes in each other's embrace. Everyone was completely won over by Haruna's bold move. They stopped questioning her and just followed her lead without complaint. Soon they made it through the tunnel and the driver drove through as well. After making sure that the uncle in the suit could drive, Haruna used a brick to knock the driver unconscious, and everyone rushed into the car. But they walked a long way and still did not see the temple with the glowing door, as Junko said. At that moment, the driver who had just been knocked down by them suddenly appeared in front of the car. The driver was run over, but he twisted his body and stood up. Seeing this, Haruna hurriedly urged the uncle in the suit to drive faster. But at that moment, the car broke down. Everyone hurried out of the car, but the suited man's seatbelt got stuck. As the driver approached, the man in the suit appeared so nervous that he broke out in a cold sweat. When he looked again, the driver had vanished. The unknown is what truly terrifies us. The man in the suit unbuckled his seatbelt and looked under the car. There was nothing below, and when he turned his head towards the passenger seat, there was nothing there either. Just then, the driver appeared from behind. The blood-curdling scream of the suited man echoed through the forest, spurring everyone to flee in panic. In the blink of an eye, the sky was dark. They emerged from the dense forest and saw a house ahead with lights on, suggesting that someone might be living there. Everyone was ecstatic, believing they were finally saved. But Haruna's heart was racing. Things had spiraled far beyond anything she could understand. With no other options, she reluctantly followed the others into the large house. Inside, they found it completely empty. Just then, the companion who had just run upstairs to check suddenly came face to face with the dead blonde guy. The girl in the short skirt saw this scene and rushed over. In the end, all 3 of them were blown to ashes. Haruna wanted to run away from the place, but suddenly found the driver standing right outside. His hands grew fiery magma, spreading toward the house. At that moment, the dead man in the suit also suddenly appeared. Haruna and Miyazaki kept dodging and ended up accidentally discovering a door leading out of the world. Suddenly, Haruna recalled what Junko said. The person who enters the door will die, while the one who stays behind will return to the original world. To survive, Haruna lured Miyazaki into the door. "You go first, I'll hold him off." Miyazaki was deeply moved and staggered inside. At this moment, Haruna revealed a triumphant smile. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds ticked by, but the door didn't burst into flames as expected. At this moment, Haruna heard Miyazaki from inside the door telling her to quickly come in. Haruna's expression gradually turned to terror. She frantically ran toward the door, but it disappeared at the last moment. Haruna was completely left in this strange world. Haruna lifts her head, horrified to see a blood-red eye staring back at her. The scene cuts to the real world. Miyazaki appeared on the lawn, and Junko, as if she had anticipated it, also came here. It turns out this was all Junko's scheme. Only the first person to enter the gate could escape. Years ago, the first to enter wasn't Miyazaki, but Junko herself. She had lied to Haruna, convincing her that staying behind meant survival. Junko had already looked into Haruna and was just waiting for her arrival. Junko can use Haruna's selfish nature to rescue Miyazaki.